Hello, everyone. After 8 weeks of competition, it all comes down to one single match. Hello, and welcome to the final day of VCT Americas live from the Riot Games Arena in Los Angeles, California. I'm Dash, once again joined at the desk by Mimi and Sean Garris to close out what is the regular season. Can you believe it? We're already here week 8, about to close it all out.
It's crazy that we're already at this point. Feels like it's flown by. But I think it's even crazier that in the very last day of the regular season, there's still a playoff spot undecided.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Hashtag blessed, dude.
Right?
Hashtag blessed that we're actually here with a meaningful game determining if one of two teams is going to make it to playoffs.
Feels like just yesterday we were combining the regions, and now we're one big happy family. All right, let's talk about what happened on stage, though, yesterday. The #1 playoff seed was on the line. First, we saw Cloud9 versus Crew.
And this game, we expected Cloud9 to just run away with things. Crew is winless thus far, and Cloud9 has been looking incredible. But they were very much tested in this matchup. They lost a map on Ascent after trying to debut this crazy new composition with the Breach. And while there's some ideas that looked pretty cool, it didn't seem fully fleshed out and ready for it. But once they got to split in map number 3, they turned up, and it was a fairly dominant win.
Yeah, you described it perfectly. I mean, they were up 12-6 on both of the opening maps of the series. Just standard Crew stuff.
And that's for Crew.
Yeah, they couldn't close it out, though, unfortunately. And by the time it gets to the third map, at that point, Cloud9 was just full steam ahead.
And the second series actually was dominant, as we expected. Leviathan is a team who has had their upswings throughout the season, but they've ended on a weaker note with Loud coming out and looking like that #1 seed that we expected to be. Them winning this match clinched that top spot for them, avoided being on the side of the bracket with NRG, and I'm sure gave them a lot of confidence now heading into playoffs.
Yeah, Loud locking up the top spot. Leviathan still qualified into the postseason, even though they stumbled just yesterday. It's our final match on our final day, though, and it actually matters for playoffs. As you can see here when we pull up the standings, there's only one slot available. Currently, 100 Thieves holds it. Evil Geniuses is the hopeful team that's looking to get in. If 100 Thieves takes down MiBR and wins today, they are in the playoffs. If they lose, they're out, and Evil Geniuses moves forward. It's quite simple.
And you can see that our top 3 is locked in terms of seeding. It'll be Loud, Cloud9, NRG in that order, cannot move. But depending on who wins today, the seeding will change. If 100 Thieves win, they get the 4th seed. But if 100 Thieves loses to MiBR, then 100 Thieves is out of playoffs, and EG just barely clinches as our 6th seed.
And then everyone moves up one. So
Exactly.
Leviathan would get 4, Fury would get 5. So this match means a lot, right? Everyone's watching this right now. Like, who do we play first round? What's going on in playoffs? Who's going to be our matchup in the second round? Everyone that's making playoffs is watching this, determining if 100 Thieves can send, MiBR home today. Is it possible?
And every week here, right, we see the world's best players pull off the impossible. And sometimes, though, it's nice to see exactly the opposite. The mistakes, the whiffs. And we asked you for your Sag clips. You delivered, and then some. Let's see what you got.
Oh, God.
I'm all too familiar with sad clips, so I don't know if I'm ready for more.
Yeah, fun fact, all of these come from Mimi and her premiere play. No, I'm just kidding. All right, first up, we've got a Jet with knives, are ready to clutch out. Let's take a look.
Oh, this is
Jet Knives clips are normally pretty
we're on Breeze. Haven't seen this map in a
We've been
bit.
seeing a lot of insane.
no.
Yes, a judge. Best weapon on Breeze.
That's unbelievable. Oh, that's so good.
Actual Jet diff, though, no?
Yeah.
Actual
He's just a
Jet,
better player.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny, man. It's missing every single knife, and then I'm just gonna dash over here. Maybe they'll forget that nobody was here.
Surprise!
Turn, look, nobody was there, right? Oh my goodness. All right, that was a good one to kick us off. Next up, we got a video that shows why you don't necessarily have to check your corners.
Who needs that?
You still should, though, probably.
No, that's
if I'm being
fine.
honest. Let's find out.
If there's someone in that corner behind him, I am going to be very scared.
Okay.
Like, literally, was there just somebody in?
I don't know. I'm scared of...
Crosshair placement could use a little.
Oh, what? No.
He's using
What?
utility.
What?
Make it stop.
Dude, he used 14 of 15 bullets, and not a single one hit, and not a single person
Can we
of
talk
2.
about those enemies? Are
The
they?
2 people came out showers and
What's
just
worse,
looking at them.
though?
That's AI.
Like, what is actually worse, though? Is it worse to miss
it
14
is
shots
worse
on
for
a
the
target that's not looking at you, or is it
No.
worse to not look when bullets are whizzing by your head?
It's hard to shoot people in the back of the head. It's easy to turn around.
Those enemies have no headset. They have I don't know. Something's wrong with their vision too.
Dude.
They can't see the tracers going right by their face.
That's wild too, yeah.
They're literally just like
going on in
looking,
that
just
clip?
like staring at U-Haul. Like, that's a fascinating clip. Thank you so much for that one. Okay, up next, we've got a
That should be in a
Jet
museum.
in a 1v2. That's like when you have your headphones on backwards, so all your audio cues are coming from different places. All right, Jet in a 1v2, or is it a 2v1?
Every clip has been a Jet clip thus far. Surely this one's good. What?
Oh.
Does he think
Wait,
this is
wait,
teammate?
that's definitely not a teammate. What is going on?
What?
Wait. Oh, I like that they cut the clip. He wins that, by the way, guys. He really wins
Does
that.
he? I hope.
Definitely.
Yeah, he's got to, right?
We gotta cut it because that's why he won. Didn't want to see him.
I've honestly done something like that, Gecko. I've like confused
for sure.
the enemy team as my own
all the
team.
time.
and-
For sure.
Oh.
There's just a
I've also dodged
Yeah.
like allies' abilities and stuff that I think is gonna, I'm like, oh, KJ ult goes down. I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of this.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, that's ours.
Yeah,
We're
but you
fine.
always have to have an excuse and play it off like it never happened.
Exactly.
It was just true discipline play. That was impressive.
Little ring around the rosy there. All right, let's wrap this one up with a good old-fashioned knife kill.
This must be tier 1 gameplay then, right?
Oh no.
No!
Wait.
No!
Up like this?
No.
Up like this?
No, don't.
Not
Yeah, not like this, bro! Not like this, bro! What is actually
Why
no?
are you so bad, dude? You just gave an ace.
These teammates are molding.
To be fair, the knife is very, very hard.
It is hard. It is hard to hit a moving target with a knife, but still.
You know, I'm against pay to win, but I think if you buy a longer knife, it should have better taste.
A pole arm?
Yes.
Ah! Oh my goodness, that is so absurd. Oh,
think
thank you so much for sending all of those in, guys. That's put a smile on our faces, giving us some good laughs. And you know where we got all these videos? We got them from Twitter. Everyone, use the hashtag VCT Americas and VCT. If you do that, you can show up on the show just like these fun clips, and we'll feature you later on in the broadcast. God.
Are you stunned by those clips?
Well, I love those clips, man. Also, it reminds me of like my gameplay. You know,
Yeah?
that's what I like about it. All right, we're gonna head to a quick break. Then it's time to decide which team takes to the postseason. We'll see you for the playoff dating game when VCT Americas continues.
I simply wouldn't win if I was to win those clips.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't do it.
WAD22 de vida! JCC!
Numbers aren't great, but this is winnable. He's gotten into a 1v1. He's stunned, patient, waiting, daring to swing around. And the snap onto DG is a Red Bull clutch.
Hello, and welcome back. There's only one spot left in the VCT Americas playoffs, and two teams think that they're a perfect match. It's time for the playoffs dating game. Dash is our VCT Americas Bachelor, and he's looking for the right team to bring forward in the competition. And behind this very wall, we have two teams desperate for his affection. Dash will ask them a series of questions and decide which one is his match made in heaven. Dash, please introduce yourself and welcome to the show.
Yeah, sup? Where do I look?
Just talk over there.
Just like
please.
right over here? All
Yeah,
right, great.
yeah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Dash, and I'm here looking for my forever duo. Okay? A little bit about me. My friends like to call me a Chad because I play Vandal only. But I have a softer side too, you know? Like, I like long walks down C long. And look, at the end of the day, I'm looking for somebody who's not afraid to plant the spike.
Yeah,
So,
well, I'm sure
yeah.
either of our lucky contestants would be so happy to have you as their bachelor. But Dash, why don't you get us started with your first question, please?
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that. Team number 1, describe your season in one word.
Oh, it's an honor talking to you, Dash. I would say resilient. We have a long history of, coming back when no one believes in us, potentially winning LCQ. We're the type of team that no one will believe in us, and we'd still go to Tokyo.
Was that one word?
Oh, that was a lot of words. Okay, but thank you so much, team number 1. Team number 2, same question.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just be perfectly honest. I mean, stressful, stressful, I would say. We've had some ups and downs with this team, and the competition's been tough, a lot of losses, but we've been grinding our way back, we've been earning our way back. And listen, it's been a rough road, but I think that this really does strengthen my resolve as well, and I think I could bring a lot to any sort of relationship.
Yo, I feel that, man. Life is stressful sometimes,
Yeah.
And look, climbing the rank ladder every once in a while, really tests your mental. So I feel that. Thank you, team number 2.
Yeah. Is stressful something you want in a relationship, Dash? Is that something you're looking for?
I think a healthy amount of stress means that, there's some excitement in your life, right? And, if I have the right duo, we can fight through that together.
Sure.
And I think that's pretty cool. Team number 2, be honest. What is your most unflattering feature?
Yeah, the most unflattering thing about me is probably that I work too hard. I work way too hard at, the preparation and the kind of sometimes I get ahead of myself. Dash, you said you want someone, who's going to be capable of planning the spike. We played tons of Gecko. We experimented a lot, and I've got over that stage of my life. It was an experimental time. Everyone goes through it. Everyone's been to college, okay? It was an experimental time, but I've got that experience under my belt. If you're looking for that kind of person again, I could be that person.
Yeah, okay, cool. I mean, I like experience. That's important. Team number 1, same question.
Yeah, I think unlike my narcissistic enemy here, I think I'm gonna go ahead and say my map pool is my thing that I think I fear the most. We can't play 2 of them, if I'm being quite honest with you, Dash. We can't play Pearl or Ascent. 0 wins throughout the entire stage on the 2 maps. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We're still going to playoffs. We control our own destiny. So we're squeezing lemonade out of these lemons out here.
Yeah, look, I appreciate the honesty there, though, but Pearl is one of my favorite maps, so that could be something difficult for us to overcome,
Yeah, is it not a red flag that team number 2 didn't seem like they were being super honest? They turned that into a positive event.
There was some animosity there for sure. Do you feel that tension on the other side of the wall? I feel it from here. I might have to get in between that tension, if you know what I mean. Okay, let's move on to the final question. This is a big one. Team number 1, coming at you. I need a squad that can go the distance. How well do you perform in, as we say, clutch situations?
Oh, you're gonna love this, Dash. We are the best in clutch situations. I'm not sure if you're aware, there was a tournament last year where only 1 team advanced. We were the team that got through. There was several occasions throughout this entire stage where we won on the last round, the 24th round on the 3rd map. Are you familiar with the word bang by any chance, Dash?
Yeah. Team 2, yeah, same question.
Listen, I've already spoken about my strengths as well. I won't lie to some weaknesses here. How good are we in clutch situations? I mean, it's kind of a mixed bag with me as a person, if we were to be in a relationship here, because listen, on the one hand, we can dominate, but on the other hand, we're also, no strangers to really being dominated. So if you're looking for a switch, I'm that person as well. I can do it both. Now, it's the right place, right time. Clearly, you're going to want me to be, a little bit more dominating now as we're heading deeper into the playoffs. But, I can assure you, listen, whatever one you want me to be, I can do it. I can do it, Dash. I can be your guy.
All right.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, look, that's intriguing. That's
Yeah.
like a pretty compelling argument right there,
Yeah. Well,
Right.
Dash, this is now the time. Your opportunity. You only get to pick one of these fantastic bachelors to choose and maybe take home and find that relationship with the team into the playoffs and for the rest of your life, Dash.
All right. Okay, this is pretty wild, right? I like a lot of what both of you had to say, and I feel like, honestly, I could have a connection with either. But the reality is, right, I can only bring one to the postseason. And so I think that last answer, honestly, struck me with the honesty of team number 2.
Well, Dash is selected team number 2. Let's go over and meet your lovely match.
My goodness. Wow, you are so tall.
I love your vibe.
I got this
Me
for
and my
you.
9 friends, we love your vibe.
Can we do this?
Seriously, let's do this.
What a beautiful moment for these two. They're not guaranteed a spot in Tokyo, but they are guaranteed a fantastic run throughout the playoffs and possibly true love. But that's all the time we have for the playoff dating game. We'll be so excited to watch this happy couple into the playoffs. And for now, we're going to hear a word from our sponsors as we get ready to break down MiBR and 100 Thieves.
Please reconsider Dash.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to VCT Americas and our final match of this stage. It's 100 Thieves versus MiBR. For our last match, the stakes are very clear here. It's 100 Thieves win the game, you make it in the playoffs. Lose, and you are out. This is another NA team that had a rough start, but they managed to rebound with some wins and find themselves in this position where they can still control their destiny.
They have. 100 Thieves, it feels like the story of all of our North American teams, where it started really slow, it looked tough, but in the last few weeks, when it mattered most, they have showed up. In the first few weeks, it really seemed like they were plagued by a lot of issues of just miscoordination. They had solid game plans, but the execution would fail. Some of their star players like Cryo were struggling to find their stride. But these last few games, they've managed to build enough momentum that now, if they can win this game, I feel like they actually have a solid shot into playoffs.
Yeah, I think all the people that initially questioned 100 Thieves early in this split this time are kind of doubting themselves at this point, right? They've defeated 2 playoff teams now towards the end of the stage. They defeated Leviathan. They obviously defeated Furia last week. Those are huge wins for a team in the middle of the pack like 100 Thieves. They played loud well. I mean, they are really hitting their stride late in this stage. And I would argue that once they solve either Ascent or Pearl, they're a legit contender at that point to make it to Tokyo.
And I think a big piece of that, right, is this man on your screen right here, Cryo, had the slow start, kind of, I guess, in parallel with the team's performance, right? As he started to find his rhythm, so too did the team, and the wins would follow.
Absolutely. I mean, it was the question of when is he just going to start locking jet? When are we going to see the Cryo of last year? And in the last few weeks, we've really gotten it. In the match in particular last week versus Furia, I think it was the best game we've seen out of him thus far this year. He was so impactful throughout a game that, in reality, was incredibly close. They lost on their Pearl that has looked pretty rough, pushed it all the way to 3 maps, and then it was 13-11. And a lot of his performance, his opening kills, his impact in the early round is what helped them pull through that.
And something to look at when you watch Cryo early in this stage versus later is just the confidence in a lot of these peaks. You're going to see it throughout the highlights. He has really been feeling his shot, actually, in the game. Like, he is actively taking peeks. And from talking to DDK, you know, it's something that even the team was aware of actually throughout the stage. And once, you know, he got some reps, and I think with the sports psychologist that works with 100 Thieves, that's actually when I started to notice the change in the server, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, but I think the thing you noted earlier is still important to bring up in that their map pool has struggled. They still have maps where they look rough. They played that Pro last week versus Furia. Their attacking side had so many issues where they were just late execing into utility and falling apart. The ideas are good on a lot of these maps, but we're still seeing those glimmers of the 100 Thieves that was struggling in the early season.
There's definitely moments of struggle, particularly on certain maps, right? Like Pearl, oh my gosh, when we watch them play Pearl, there's no mid control, right? They hardly understood how to play the map on attack side. And Ascent, they've been trying the whole Viper gimmicks, and that never worked out throughout the entire stage for them, 0-4 on Ascent. So that's where I think the glaring weaknesses are, is especially because most of the teams in this season prefer one of those two maps as a pick.
Yeah, while map pool may be considered a weakness, I think agent pool is one that could be considered either, right? I think some teams look at having creativity in a deeper pool as an advantage. Others look at it as, hey, you're looking for gimmicks. 100 Thieves, one of the only teams still running Gecko here in this in the league, and Mimi hates it.
I don't hate it.
Mimi hates it.
Their Haven is good.
She hates it with a burning passion. But Sean, my question to you is, do you have a telestrator that can make her a believer?
I could try to make Mimi a believer. I definitely have a telestrator. So what I chose to go over here are 2 alt rounds from the Gecko on their Haven games, right? So they're both going to be A executes. The first one is on this 5th round, and you can see the cascade coming into lobby. And what we're going to draw attention to right now is just how 100 Thieves is going to look to control this, right? You're going to see the standard jet smoke there. But when it gets interesting is how they approach this short area versus how they end up approaching long. So they end up approaching long with a drone, right? And they do that because they dart the short push, and this is supposed to be a very high-pace hit, so they need the dart to ping early. They're okay with the drone clearing out all of long, and in the meantime, Stellar is putting up his turret and alarm bot for the flank. So he's going to meet up with Derek, and together they're going to go long, and that's when the Gecko ult comes into play. And this round is super cool from 100 Thieves because it's one of the few times where there's so many layers in their hit. You can see right here, Cryo dashes in. He is now in the middle of this Killjoy setup. He is in big trouble. And the Seekers have been popped from the defenders, showing they're ready to flood retake. So how does Cloud9 react on the fly? Immediately, a Dizzy goes up in the air. It catches the player jumping out of heaven. You can't see it right now, but Asuna literally just actually used his mosh on the spawn smoke, and that is separating these players coming into the site. You can see there's 2 coming in. One is gonna get stuck actually in the molly because of this hit. They die in the molly. Asuna and Derek clean up 2 kills, and the round is over, right? So as we go into the next round, what you're gonna see is they actually do a variation of it now. This is the 4th Gecko ult of this half, the 4th. So you can see DG spots it, he breaks it, the Hunter's Fury is coming through from Derek from long, but if you take a look, this time actually Cryo is coming through long. And he's coming through long and he's dashing into the site, avoiding this Nano Swarm setup that previously plagued him. And you can see he gets the kill on DG right there. Derek's ult actually, gets a second. Same mollies for the rotate here coming in from Asuna. Wingman coming into plant, and it's just an insane take of the site by 100 Thieves. And it just shows me that they're adapting throughout the plays in one given game, right? It doesn't take failing in a prior game for them to adapt, and I didn't see that early on in this stage.
Okay. It was really good from them, the way they built ideas around that Gecko ult. But also, on the defense, I was impressed by the protocols they had for the retake on Haven. They had besides some of those rounds with the ults, they had a rough attack side, but it was some of the retakes they built with combining the Gecko flash with another piece of utility to be able to flood into those sites that was super successful. And I think the game plans are continuing to get better for 100 Thieves, but now the execution and the adaptation are actually happening.
So perhaps things looking up for 100 Thieves. On the other side of this matchup, though, sits MiBR, who started strong, almost the opposite story, right? They beat NRG, and that's about as good as it got.
Yeah, they have 2 wins. They beat Crew in an incredibly close series that had overtimes in it, and they beat NRG when NRG was struggling. And ever since then, it has honestly been tragic for MiBR. They have 10 map losses in a row. They've only gotten double digits in a single one of those games. They've just been getting stomped week upon week.
There's no other word other than stomped, right? Not a single map win for 5 straight weeks now. It's just, that has to be a brutal feeling for MiBR. And when you hear the words in the camp, Heat, obviously, not playing today, on the bench, Chosen coming in yet again, and you listen to the reasons why there was so much disconnect in how the strategy should be run. Should they be a more loose team? Should they be more close to the vest and play more tactically? Similar to like Leviathan. And because of that, you could see the second they got that loss in this stage, things just started to crumble for them. Their cohesion just it plummeted.
Yeah, it never felt like MiBR could find an identity. When we first were talking about the team, we're like, it's combining some of the really big stars of Brazil with people like their coach, Bazooka, who's bringing some of that more structure that we've seen out of Loud. And when we thought maybe it can be a match of those two styles, that never really came to be. And instead, it was just this constant disconnect between the players, with Heat running ahead, with everything looking off. And well, Chosen is now coming in. It's a change. It just feels like it's still free fall. We thought maybe that could be the thing that catches them. But at this point, they're already out of playoffs. They're only playing spoiler.
There's no dancing around the fact that it's been a rough split for MiBR. But if we try to end things on a positive note for this squad, right, it's that they could show up here, much like Crew did yesterday,
Sure.
and with an ounce more than that, they could end their season at the very least on a win and give a gift over to EG.
I mean, we saw that this was the first game where they came in with Chosen. We've been talking a lot about some of the disconnect with Heat. Maybe with a little bit more time under their belt, they can have something prepped. There's obviously 8 weeks of gameplay out there from 100 Thieves. But it really, I think, would take a miracle mentally to turn this one around.
I think the giga cope that you would have right now if you were an MiBR fan is that, yeah, the interview showed there was a lot of disconnect with Heat and Bazooka, the coach, right, as far as how the tactics should be run. Maybe bringing in a sub like Chosen, even though he might not be as skilled as Heat, the fact that the team is all on one page, like these are all, EG is obviously rooting for MiBR.
MiBR's fandom grew by at least 7, as you can see here over the weekend, with EG fans rallying behind them for their shot at the playoffs, so riding entirely on the results of this matchup.
And that's the thing. You can't win anymore, but you can play spoiler, and you can get out of this mental rut, really. Like 10 map losses in a row, even if you're getting a map here, even if you're playing a close game versus 100 Thieves, that's something to give you that spark preparing for LCQ.
Now, earlier, we got a chance to speak with MiBR's IGL Muris and got his thoughts on the 100 Thieves matchup. Take a look.
Bom, acho que vai ser um jogo dificílimo, eles estão muito bem, acabaram de ganhar da Fúria. Então, é um time que a gente vai ter que jogar bastante solto, né? Até porque agora a gente não tá brigando por mais nada. Então, vamos jogar solto, vamos jogando mais confiante no individual e nas nossas estratégias e vendo o que dá. Então, eu acho que eles vão vir muito forte, com muita vontade, eles têm mais coisa para disputar, mas pode ser um momento de pressão para eles também e talvez a gente possa ganhar esse jogo.
Playing loose and without pressure to a degree, right? And sometimes that can be the most freeing thing, and he even cites on the opposite side. Their opponents, 100 Thieves, are going to be feeling double the pressure, you know?
It's so interesting because he wanted to play loose, Bazooka wanted to play structured, but now that Heat's out of the team, they don't have time to get the structure in place, so they have to play loose. They have no choice.
It's just such a weird situation for MiBR to be in here. But talking about playing with pressure, I mean, it's going to be extreme for 100 Thieves today. This team has had really high expectations throughout the entire split thus far. And we've heard from the players in tweets that the pressure's on, that they hate disappointing the fans, hate losing in these close games so consistently. And winning a game here just feels like a requirement, especially since it is versus MiBR, who has lost 10 maps in a row.
All right, if it's a requirement, the question is, will they fulfill that requirement? We're narrowing in towards walkouts, so pull out your whiteboards, please, and let's dive into some predictions for our final regular season match of VCT Americas. Mimi, why don't you go first, right there in the middle?
Hundo Thieves.
Hundo Thieves.
Yeah, it's got to be my
2-0? 2-1?
Yeah, I think this should be a 2-0. I think this should be a stomp. 100 Thieves has been continuing to get better throughout the last few weeks, and MiBR, I mean, it's just rough right now.
All right, Sean?
I'm going to go 100 Thieves, but I don't like this guarantee right here. I'm kind of hoping you're not going to do what I think you're going to do right now, Dash.
A little curse?
A little curse.
I'm going with a little Hundo Thundo right here. A little Hundo Thundo, if I do say so myself. How could you not, right? I mean, everything we just said, if you were to predict opposite that at this point, it just feels like, I mean,
We'd be lying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You'd be off
exactly.
the
Yeah, there you go. That's the plainest way to say it. We would be lying in that sense. And so there you have it. It looks like the teams are just about ready. That's going to be it. Or maybe not just quite yet, actually. I'm jumping the gun by like 30 seconds. Any final notes then before we dive out there on stage?
I think the key thing to look at today is, does 100 Thieves play their game? And if they do, does MiBR have counters to like these get-go plays we just saw? And are there weaknesses in 100 Thieves map pool still?
All right, those are the questions we have to answer here. That's going to be it, the last day of competition. One match will settle our playoff bracket. It's 100 Thieves versus MiBR. It's VCT Americas, and we start right now. This stream contains fast flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Olha, Thieves, escala bem, faz duplo abate, vamos, Fogão!
Se acaba tempo e leva!
Every game was a must-win. I think MiBR is a really good team. Right now, they seem to be really hit or miss whenever they're playing, and hopefully when we play against them, they don't hit us.
E é 2 contra 1, JZZ tá sozinho, pega o primeiro, tá miado no item, JCC!
But if they do hit us, hopefully we hit back.
Fight ticking away. Bazine trying to deal some damage, and he cannot. As 100 Thieves try to force her way through, but he steps in front of it just a little bit. There's a crossfire that was intended to be a swing for Stellar, and he gets it!
Bom, acho que vai ser um jogo dificílimo, eles estão muito bem, acabaram de ganhar da Fúria, porque eles vão vir muito forte, com muita vontade, eles têm mais coisa pra disputar, mas pode ser um momento de pressão pra eles também e talvez a gente possa ganhar esse jogo.
Nice wallbang though. FRZ continues the fight.
Faking the plant to pull them out of their positions.
I've been in this position a lot. Whenever pressure rises, I like to think that I stop the pressure from overwhelming me.
By himself. Numbers aren't great, but this is winnable. He's gotten into a 1v1, he's stunned, patient, waiting, daring to swing around. Red Bull clutch.
We all know the stakes. It's playoffs or bust for 100 Thieves with MiBR trying to play spoiler and end their season on a high note.
And while this is on paper a simple opponent, and MiBR hard in a slump, 0-10 in their last few maps, the pressure is still very much on for 100 Thieves. Because despite your opponent, whoever you are playing, if one thing has been proven throughout Americas, it's that anyone can win. Anyone can find an upset. 100 Thieves aren't out of this one.
That is exactly true. We have seen some crazy stuff throughout this stage. Some huge upsets, teams that should never win matches, taking games off of one another. So if 100 Thieves cannot be sleeping on this matchup today, because MiBR, they can play Ascent, they can play Pearl. These are maps that 100 Thieves struggled on. All they need at that point is to anti-strat one map. So this is a very dangerous situation for 100 Thieves.
And despite the struggles, we know that the coaching staff for this MiBR squad is world-class. It's Bazooka. He won champions last year with Loud and is looking to maybe find something similar in the future with this squad. But for now, it's just this one match. And I go back to your question about the maps. How much time have 100 Thieves had? It's been a week since they showed their Pearl. They struggled versus Furia on it, and they don't have much time ahead of playoffs either to shore that one up. It's going to be a lot of pressure to practice.
But the one positive I think from 100 Thieves that they've said is they're not afraid to just take stuff from other teams until they look comfortable on the map. They did it on Lotus. I think they did it last week on Pearl, and all they need to do is just keep adding, just keep stealing.
All right, I like it. Hey, man.
100 Thieves, it's what you got to do.
Yup.
Look, you imitate until you can innovate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so MiBR looking to play fast and loose, I think, with the sub in the lineup. The question is, what have they gleaned from 100 Thieves' weaknesses? I know we've already said it once before. I'm just going to reiterate it as we dive in to map select, Sean. From the dating game, you had said biggest weakness for 100 Thieves is their map pool. So has MiBR identified the same holes that you have? Hopefully so.
Yeah, it's really going to come down to if MiBR ends up picking this Pearl map, right? Because, like I said, 100 Thieves 0-4 on Ascent. We saw Pearl for the first time last week since lock-in, and it did not look good.
Yeah, it did not look good at all. But we do get a sense out of the way. Neither of these teams really like to play that one, so it's honestly helpful to MiBR, if anything. And 100 Thieves will start us on Fracture. I think throughout the split, this has probably looked like their strongest map. Their ideas around south side pushes with this one, the interesting approach with the Jet Sky has all been good, but like we're talking about, Pearl, not so much. And MiBR, well, they're not great on that. They play a competent meta composition here. 100 Thieves could be tested.
Yeah, 100 Thieves could definitely get tested on Pearl if they struggle in the mid-rounds like they did last week against Furia. I think that'll be a big test for them on that second map.
I have questions about roles. If we do go back to Pearl there with that double controller comp, it's really relying on your Jet player, and Heat was exceptional on that map. They've been subbing JZZ in for that role, played Raze both maps last week, but how are they going to fill that void? Because even if things weren't working out strategically with Heat, that's really big shoes to fill just as an individual.
Yeah, and the third and final map, we're going to Lotus. 100 Thieves has definitely looked up and down there, as has, MiBR. This is anyone's series, if I'm being quite honest. Looking at these maps right now, I think things panned out quite well for MiBR.
All right, let's dive straight into agent select here for Fracture. This is 100 Thieves map choice, looking to kick it off with a nice, solid win.
For MiBR, this is a map that they played last week, but they are going to be making a change. They have experimented with the Neon comp earlier, just a few weeks back. Back then, it was Heat rocking that role. Now it's JZZ filling in instead, and it didn't work very well for them then. A lot of rounds, Heat was too far ahead. It was that lack of coordination that we've been talking a lot about. And the question is, would it be better with JZZ?
Yeah, we really haven't seen a lot of success out of the Neon so far this stage. If I'm being quite honest, there hasn't been many top Neon performers other than Leaf
yeah.
and JZZ do a Leaf cosplay.
On this defensive side, look for 100 Thieves taking space aggressively on the south side. They love setting up to get those orbs, to get Cryo and Asa in position, and it makes their retakes very strong.
We're all set, so let's send it over to your casters. Two guys that have seen it all this week. It's Brent in Sideshow.
Thank you very much, Dash. Yeah, ready to get into this one. 100 Thieves versus MiBR. Josh, the implications and the stakes are set right from the beginning here. It's a must-win for 100 Thieves for our final match of the regular split as well. Couldn't have asked for a better way to set things up, but it matters a lot for them to be able to make playoffs.
And EG are just forced to watch from the sidelines and root for a team that currently looks like they're in free fall. MiBR have lost so many maps and series towards the end here. And EG are just begging them to get it together this one time and look like they did at the beginning of the season when they were able to upset teams like NRG. This MiBR squad should be capable of upsets, of big wins like this, occasionally throughout the season, even if they can't find the consistency. But here we go. They have made the swap. Mimi was talking about it. JZZ, he's a duelist main in the past. Can he bring it on the Neon today?
A much faster pace with this composition, of course. Util setup, though, is very defensive. It's set up to try and deny any sort of plant that goes down onto this A side.
They didn't break it.
Oh, across the rope, someone's hiding. Chosen. Man of the hour. Subbing for them, jump spotted out. No one clearing the corner. And they strike back. MiBR. Ripping them away. The hopes and dreams of winning a pistol round. Good night. That is absolutely flawless.
Well, there we go. MiBR come out with a statement on the pistol round. 100 Thieves had gone for their classic aggressive defensive play on the pistol. They'd pushed out Arcade, and then they made a boom esports kind of play, and all just hopped on the rope, zipping their way down to the south side, an area that they had not owned or scouted, and Chosen's just there hiding behind the box.
It's always a massive risk, but, well, one that they were ready for.
And hey, what a beginning.
Yeah, what a start. It's always the way, isn't it? These teams that are playing spoiler, MiBR, had a rough split, a lot of internal difficulties, disagreements between Heat and Bazooka. That's what it's all being alluded to, at least, as well. But now an opportunity to get some redemption at the end of the split as well. If you can get a win here against 100 Thieves, deny them that chance in playoffs. And, you know, listen, all the EG fans would be happy with that one.
Yeah, these kind of games towards the end, you're just playing for spoiler.
Yep.
You're just thinking, all right, we're going down, we're going to take 100 Thieves with us. It's pure spite. You're fueled by spite.
Yeah. I mean, Asuna as well was discussing little pieces that we were hearing from him just before this game in the interview about, you know, listen, MiBR, they can hit hard.
Yeah.
And
I think the quote was, they're hit or miss, and I hope they don't hit us.
Exactly. But 100 Thieves, obviously understanding you just got to hit them back that much harder. So heading into it now, a lot of importance on this round in particular. The bonus for MiBR. They've been relatively healthy with the economy. Rifle, kind of Chosen. Fast with the fast lane.
I love how much
these
pressure.
sides.
I love the pressure that JCC's putting on them in A here. 100 Thieves just forced to go for the full retake, and with nobody towards Dish or Halls, they're all coming from defender's spawn.
It's all about how you clear out. FRC, there it is. First kills found there with Cryo, leading the charge of his team. Flash in his face, quick reactions with the dodge, right to the side. The rest of his team backing him up, holding the angles, making sure that there's all that coverage. Spike not even planted in the midst of all of this one. 1 versus 3, damage done. Players are weak here, but doubled up. It's a 3-2-1. Got a little bit dicey, didn't it?
Yeah, that is close. And that's actually quite a bit of damage done. Remember, that's just a bonus there from MiBR. They've still got all of the economy they need to full buy up. But it hasn't done too much damage to 100 Thieves either. A lot of these teams are super happy just running with the light armor strategy. Really takes a lot of the weight out of the bonus round.
Enemy spotted.
But still, a great try from Murray's towards the end. Little shake of the head there from Derek. 100 Thieves are going to be really aggressive on this defense side. We've seen it from them almost every time they play Fracture. And RGL just takes ahead instantly. Cryo with no utility. They were just going for a contact walk. And speaking of contacting, that's exactly what MiBR are doing towards Stella.
Turret down.
Turret's going to be spotting that, though, so... Ball's compromised. A peek from Stella. Trying to show a bit of confidence to spray through. One stray bullet will connect. But it's just that 1-for-1 it was traded, so... Sight's going to be theirs, and still a player advantage in the hands of MiBR.
And this is where 100 Thieves would love to, in previous times that we've seen them play on Fracture, flank and be coming from Halls and coming from Dish, and really threatening an ambush in the retake. Instead, both of these retakes that we've seen in the last couple of rounds have been coming purely from spawn.
Fracture's a map where you need to have some control, or at least denying different areas of the post plan. Flash around the back there, dodged, juked. A clean fight, that's what MiBR are looking for right now. FRZ is going to be the first one to find it. There you go, kill, found, fault line, stun, dodge, then still watching. 100 Thieves though, now you're feeling it. The heat as the molly explodes, Nano Swarm, the extra layers to it, and just like that, you have to give up any hope, any chance of winning the round.
So far, so good for MiBR. Starting out with RGL decapitating Cryo on tree, and that just gives them the player advantage that they're able to snowball in. Most of the time, you're not really going to be able to stand your ground against 100 Thieves pushing. But RGL No fear.
That just, I mean, literally
One tap.
containing. But no util to set up Cryo there. He thought he could just walk up onto the angle.
And I appreciate the confidence because Cryo at the beginning of the season, he wasn't really going for shots like that, and he's got the skill to. So I definitely appreciate that element of it. But at the moment, MiBR look like they're in fierce form individually.
No fear. Full line stun, connects up into tower there. JCZ just looking for an opportunity now to clear this one out. Still a singular player, that's Stella. He's removed, he's taken care of. There's a bit of danger still behind this one. Flash through, Shorty. Bang finds it. Rolling Thunder committed into the spawn though, and this is an attempt from MiBR. Trying to pounce on it, or at least buy a bit of time. It does stave off that aggression.
JCZ actually found himself there with a bolt that stopped himself from pushing off the back of the Breach ultimate.
Yeah. Cryo with the updraft there as well. He whacked his head. He might have been able to spot FRZ. Doesn't matter though. He will still fall. That's Derek taking that angle and contact. But again, no control of main or arcade. Both players playing slow. JCZ knows he can just play his life here. They should have utility to stall this out yet again. Turret, first contact chosen, but again, Cryo. He wins out his fight. A tap onto the spike to try and force it out. Asuna holding it. Another 1-1 down to that one-on-one attack. It's the order strike. It was just earned. Damage is done there, but again, has the time been bought? Cryo, he can't play it. He can't stick it. He did such good work, but not enough. MiBR 4-1 this early on in Fracture. 100 Thieves map pick.
And it's the same kind of story again, Brent. The 100 Thieves retake, all coming from the same direction. They don't have arcade, they don't have tree. Every one of these retakes has been worse because the early round has seen no aggression from them, or at least no aggression that they can get away with. The superior pace coming out from JCC's Neon means that 100 Thieves don't have time to go for these big wraparound flanks that help their retake strategy. And despite the heroics of that man there, RGL Meister's actually the player that is winning this map for MiBR.
A very vital kill that he got. I mean, listen, both of those rounds back to back, I believe.
Yeah.
One at the beginning on Cryo, and then was it Asuna? Or?
Yeah, he grabs that kill on Asuna with the wide swing in just that battle between Canteen and Arcade. Yeah. And that gets his orbital strike online. And so much of this game in the early rounds is about having a good start to feed your ult economy so that you can make plays like that. And Bang's going to have his own, Stella's got a lockdown, but that's for the next round.
Yeah.
That's not for the important swings. Mike's going to have a talk to the rest of the squad here on 100 Thieves to right the ship early. And they're going for Cryo picking up an operator. This another heavy theme of 100 Thieves defense on Fracture. The first 6 rounds, they really like to play aggressive and shove it down the opponent team's throats. That strat has failed. And normally that conditions teams into being a bit more passive, and it sets up Cryo to have a lot of success with the operator. But without that prior conditioning, MiBR are just going to be running at him. And so Cryo's going to have a more difficult job here. I mean, look at where they're ready to set up. JCZ looks like he's galloping like a horse
going to run him down.
Cryo.
And the stun as well is going to push Cryo into a really far back position. But, okay, they temper it. Just that quick burst of the util to push off the common angle. And now starting to explore towards the tunnel, re-clearing maybe towards arcade.
It's pretty interesting there. Chosen takes the rope, just as the rest of MiBR are coming up under the tunnel, seeing if they can bait some kind of push from those arcade players.
They use the Trailblazer there. It does spot that turret. That needs to be broken to have any threat. The turret contact, that's an orbital strike. They try to make a play off of it with the stun as well. It's a cutesy idea. You got to respect it from 100 Thieves, but a lot invested. Fast lane up in his face, stuns as well. Cryo can't take an easy fight, can't take the easy shot. Spray through the box. No bullets really connecting there, but Cryo's in a bit of danger. Has to back away for the heal.
And this time 100 Thieves retake does have a Halls push. That 3-person play, the trap play that they had off the orbital strike, has set up Derek and Stella to flash.
Right, flash through the box. Going to be fighting for this one. MiBR understanding the importance of holding on to this space. 100 Thieves winning their duels out though still. Derek alive, not for much longer. FRC wins it, maintaining control of that main position, but already 100 Thieves have regained the site. Sticking through onto the diffuser, smoke in his face. It's going to be the retake, a successful one at that. Part of the reason because of what you were saying, Josh, you know, that prior push out of halls, that threatening of the one area towards main, it allows the rest of the team to just get in.
Look how much of a difference that makes. Even when the flank fails, it pulls away enough of the MiBR players that the 100 Thieves people from spawn get space and are able to get on the spike in much more favorable positions and control these angles. This is the entire way that 100 Thieves have been winning with their retake strategy, and they just couldn't execute it at the beginning with how fast MiBR were and some of the shots that they were hitting. Now MiBR dropped down onto an eco, and we're looking at a big clash at Dish. Cryo with an op here.
Oh, what?
Insane.
No way. Wallbang through it. And it has to be a response here. 100 Thieves immediately pushing out through Arcade. 3 of the players chasing down at the heels of MiBR, but they're not wasting time. They want to take up the space. Seekers as well. That's peace of mind gained as well, knowing that nobody else is going to be close onto the site, so the plant will get down without too many problems. Chosen, you might be dying there if you're trying to contact, but
RGL
okay, it's fast. Yeah, RGL could not plant with the Rolling Thunder coming through. It's covered. Where is Jason picking up these kills? Denied the ace though. Cryo still in the fight. Last line for them though, with the operator in a 1v3, knows he has to give this one up.
And so just like that, MiBR take the sour moment of having to eco and turn it into absolute magic. JZZ pulls those kills out of nowhere from the very first Sheriff Wallbang spam into a 3K where he'd repositioned up. It's so intelligent.
Yeah.
He gets the read on that triple flank happening from, you know, RGL peeking in and FRZ going down, and all of that info feeds into him repositioning up towards the rafters and spraying them down as they try and enter the site. What a round from JZZ.
Just when you think 100 Thieves are getting control of the situation again.
Block the enemy's line of sight. Once they're blind,
Stolen away in the blink of an eye with a thrifty win.
And it feels like actually the 100 Thieves are getting able to execute their game plan at this point. It's just that the individual brilliance from MiBR is back out to play. It does at the moment feel reminiscent of the beginning of the season for them. And here's that series of kills from JZZ. Look, he repositions rafters and just sprays them all down. Why would 100 Thieves be pre-aim in this area? They expect everyone to be in sight.
Already skipping a couple of the seconds here at the beginning of the round, getting right into it. Fast play towards Dish. Again, the fast lane is propped up across the site. We're not wasting time. Flash deep, Cryo, shot. It's there. Dash is still active. And look at this response. Containing, this time fighting. Flooding in, making sure that there's no easy task of getting into the site. Now to ensure that it doesn't fall to pieces. The hard work is done. But there's that crossfire setup. Fuzzy doesn't know if they're being pushed. That's a lovely disciplined play. 100 Thieves calling it down as well with a double face and a double swing just to make sure that they could clear out halls.
So an adaptation. This is the first round where we've seen 100 Thieves try to flood and defend by stacking bodies on the site to deny the plant or deny the exec rather than playing retake. And that, I think, is a conscious call, you know, maybe from Stella, maybe from one of the other players on the team, to adapt to how one-dimensional MiBR have been with these hits. When the Neon is execing, it's an exec.
30 seconds left.
There's no faking it. Sure, there's been a bit of quietness at the start of the rounds, but if you hear those Neon footsteps and you see a wall, you know that the site hit is coming through. And 100 Thieves had 4 players there ready to collect. So at this point, if MiBR get the read on that, and they should be able to, you know, they should realize that there was 3-4 players there waiting for them on site. Then now you can start layering in a couple of fakes. Now you can start messing with 100 Thieves if they're going to over-rotate. And it becomes a big mind game from here on out for the next 4 rounds and a half.
Groundwork is there. Throwing in the fakes with Neon. We've seen it a couple of times. I mean, Neon's been played on this map for months and months now, honestly.
Yeah, such a long time.
Quite some time. Know what to expect usually, but for 100 Thieves, it's signs of life returning back to that form, and the form was good when they played against Furia. It's almost like, you know, what we've been expecting from this team, the caliber of all the individual talent. It came together with that win to keep their dream of making the playoffs alive, but one last hurdle that they're facing right now. You've got to win against MiBR to stand a chance. Cryo. Oh, they are really meeting him. FRC with the util in his hands. Stun ripped across. No time. to waste. Jason Zay, aftershock in his face. That is so damn brave. Almost mistiming it. I'm surprised he didn't die.
I mean, massively mistiming it. He took 2 pulses of the aftershock there. And I thought after they got the return pick, that might be time to slow it down. You saw MiBR starting Contacty to try and throw 100 Thieves off, but now they're just making a mad pivot. In a player disadvantage situation, 100 Thieves very proactively clear out A-halls, throw the lockdown. MiBR can't do anything here. They've just got to wait.
Wow.
Boris is getting flanked already.
And it's a triple push out. You know, as soon as one player has to evacuate that area, playing outside the ring of the detainment.
And this looks like really nice adaptation at this point from 100 Thieves. They're getting the read on where to stack, and then they're being very quick. And I think at any point here, if MiBR just slowed the pace down, they might be able to catch the preemptive action from 100 Thieves. But that's not really the style that MiBR have come in with today. They're going to go for this. They're going to try and make it work in the 2v4.
Oh, fight to be faced. Chosen doesn't really know which way to look. RGL, a little bit too much to do, honestly. Finds the first, gets a second.
He's on
nice
point
try.
today.
Yeah, nice try, nevertheless, but he will not be winning that round out. And some minor celebration there. Plenty of time to stick to the fuse here and talk about what you want to approach into the next few rounds. But it's, look, I mean, at this point, getting salvaged by 100 Thieves. They've definitely found the adaptations. It's up to MiBR now to see if they can counteract it.
And look at Cryo here. He goes out on quite a deep angle there, which grabs him a kill. But MiBR definitely had an opportunity to just slow things down. And JZZ, a bit too active, a bit too determined to just shove it into A. He was incredibly weak from the aftershock before he even peaked. Some big ults to work with, orbital strike and a lockdown. If you wanted to slow the pace down, those are very good ultimates to do so. Good to punish, good to take space for free without having to battle. But this looks like it's fast through sands. We saw a fault line early in this area too. Aslan's aware of it.
Yeah, is Aslan going to be the first contact here with this fight? Yeah, crouched up onto the angle, spots it, sprays it, doesn't get the kill.
Close though.
Trailblazer in his hands now, trying to re-clear them out. But as that lockdown being used, this is really going to start to spread back 100 Thieves. That orbital strike getting used, that is interesting.
Yeah, that's a bit bizarre. I mean, that was an area that you were already getting from the lockdown anyway.
It was used early enough with the timing that I think they anticipated that somebody was going to be exiting there and it was going to be a free kill, but...
Okay, but now they don't have any post-plant utility. There's no Brim Molly, there's no Orbital Strike. Chosen's got 2 nanoswarms that aren't even on the plant.
It's a hell of a gamble to be taking here. That's a wide swing, though. It's clearing out Cryo, and there's no containment of these kills. It's all MiBR. The feed lit up, and it's a crossfire.
1 enemy remaining.
They can take their fights, pick the timings, because they know the time pressure is all on 100 Thieves. A round win for them, so not punished for the misuse. They have that orbital strike.
And also, Chosen just Chad Killjoy gameplay.
Yeah, he was not afraid to take that swing, was he?
Who needs to put nanoswarms on the spike? We'll just fight the flanker and then fight the people through door as well. His first contact there with a wide swing that throws off Cryo and then also picks off Derek, who tries to trade. And that's the gambit that 100 Thieves go for. Trying to pinch the players in halls with the orbital strike and the push through door, and it failed. It failed.
Go, go, go.
Now the economy weak. Round 11. 100 Thieves, this was their map pick. This is where they were expecting to surge ahead. Remember, it's Pearl coming up next. A map they haven't got a win on all season long.
It was looking rough. Fights, that is just everything being thrown at Stella up top into the high ground of Tower. An adaptation, a reaction from 100 Thieves. They look to try and take the fight to them. They are swarming a position, but it's clinical. MiBR now really leading, looking to that final round here of the first half.
These rounds are over so quickly.
Yeah,
Both teams are playing with such a high tempo.
Feels like we started casting 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, we could be going 3 maps and we'll be out of here in an hour. It's ridiculous. And most of this is being driven by MiBR, but also 100 Thieves are trying to counter them by matching with a similar level of pace. And 100 Thieves themselves like to play aggressively on this map on defense side.
And it's just been decided within the first 30 seconds.
Cryo has another op. And this looks like a slower round. So this is what MiBR were doing when the pace was going down a little bit. They used the Trailblazer and the turret to take A. And JZZ, who was throwing a stun in this area.
Oh, well,
okay.
You thought it was going to be slow. Not quite.
No, they just go for it again.
Fault line stun, Stella. Wasn't caught with that one. He can still fire off and rattle off all those bullets to take out JZZ. Updraft now. Cryo with the Blade Storm. Dash still alive and active in his hands. Someone needs to deal with these Seekers though. Pop flash around the side. Stella blind as a back close to the corner. No one clears it. They are rattled and taken out.
FRC!
I mean,
he didn't even mean to kill a couple of them there.
When did we start this cast? It's 8-4. It's the first half done.
It's over in the blink of an eye, isn't it? And for 100 Thieves, they will be reeling, sat on the stage, on their map pick, getting bodied by a team that has been in free fall recently. MiBR currently, they've lost 10 maps in a row. They've only had one single map where they got more rounds than this.
Yeah, I mean, just
they've been getting blown out.
Insane. I mean, it's one thing to have that pressure off your shoulders, I think, as well. A lot of these teams, when they start playing spoiler, it can be that difference maker. It really can. Because with nothing else to play for, you can really start to bring it to teams like 100 Thieves. Let's send it down to the desk to break down the first half so far.
Thank you so much, Jed. What a blistering pace, as they were just talking about, right? Primarily set by MiBR on the attacking side, and 100 Thieves just scrambling to keep up.
Yeah, it all started really at the very beginning of the game with that pistol round where we saw MiBR already having great preparation for what 100 Thieves loves to do with these aggressive arcade takes and the aggressive south side fights with that setup from Chosen.
Yeah, this was insane to watch because I was worried about the anti-shredding coming in from MiBR, and that's exactly what was there right off the bat. Pistol round, having Chosen wait behind that box, the jump peek coming out of A main, the pounding of Sands with those splits on A just seemed to work so well for MiBR early in this game.
Right, and essentially answered the question that we had about, with the substitution, how much is MiBR going to actually index into set plays and trying to read their opponent versus just unleash each of the individual players to play fast and loose.
And we saw both. It started with the prep in this pistol round, and then you fast forward a little bit, and it was JZZ stepping up in such a huge way. I mean, that round 7, where he just hit the craziest 4K of all time, gets a shot through the wall with the Sheriff, picks up the rifle, converts the round. It was ridiculous what he was doing.
Yeah, he just a sliver of a jump spot and just
pixel.
Yeah, just double headshots the player through the dish, picks up the Phantom and gets a 3K with it.
And beyond that, the coordination with him looked way better than with Heat. When I was watching this comp previously for MiBR, it looked so disconnected. Neon would be running in B, no one would be in position to trade. That was never the case in this game thus far for MiBR.
We also ended that first half with 2 rounds in a row, 4Ks as well on individual players for MiBR. They really are feeling it, and that's what we heard in talking to the 100 Thieves players, right? Sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss. Today we're hoping they don't hit, and so far they're hitting though. There it is, 8-4 first half. Let's get the second half underway. Back over to our casters.
And a quick bit of broadcast mathematics as well for how quickly we are getting into this one. Each round, if you detract the freeze time, is under a minute.
Yeah. These rounds have been averaging under a minute. You start with 1:40 on the clock, and these teams are getting it over and done with in less than a minute of gameplay on average in that first half. And it looks faster here.
Again, it's just a brawl. A skirmish to take place, but this time 100 Thieves, they do punch back. Not willing to sit down and lose the fight. Contacting though through. That's a double face from MiBR. Seem to be aware of that one. Stella hoping to capitalize as well off a bit of a distraction. And 100 Thieves now left with just 2 players for this pistol round. Cryo and Derek, and my oh my, what an important pistol round it is.
Wherever they go on the map, they're going to be able to find favorable fights. FRZ and RGL will be taking the 2v2. Chosen's actually cheating away from his Killjoy utility here to try and match up with the others, and they're just gambling that this is going to end B. They are correct.
Interesting decision. I mean, neither player willing to sit still on the defensive side. They're not holding any angles. And yeah, Chosen forced to walk onto the angle to try and reach there and get some information. Cryo picks him off, so he turns it into a 2-on-2. Dash is there. Lance able to get off here, but it's that double reflank through main. Derek seems to anticipate it not coming from that direction. Dash forwards. Yeah, the reposition. Gets to safety now. Double played up, and what util do they have? A smoke. Dropped in their face. It's a face from Cryo before it could bloom, but no, he's taken out left up to Derek. A tap. Gets to 1, but wow, the return of the fire. RGL. Monstrous performance. 12 and 6, Josh, and he's won them another pistol round.
RGL. This guy was excellent in some of MiBR's opening games, and he looked like one of the dangerous players who you don't normally think of as a star, but will occasionally just turn up and deliver really big performances. And at the moment, even though he's not top of the scoreboard for his team, I feel like he's been having the most impact. JZZ's been driving the pace, but RGL's won so many crucial rounds to keep MiBR ahead and keep 100 Thieves
reeling. They're at a 5-round deficit right now. Not going to force up, so likely a 6-round deficit as we creep towards 10-4. This is a rough start for 100 Thieves. And the EG fans, imagine what they're thinking at home. The EG players, too.
We're watching this match with glee so far. They needed MiBR to step up, break into that top form that we know that they've been capable of, but who could have predicted it was going to happen here?
Yeah.
End of the line, end of the season.
The final match of the regular season. And both teams look like they want it done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, there's a full line off of the tap there. Onto the orb, a bit of a trap play. Goes in. Let's get the one backs away. Another punish was attempted by Stella, opposite end of the map, but he's taken out. Didn't quite have the gun for it. So at this point for 100 Thieves, just looking to see if you can get any picks. There's one. Trying to farm up these orbs as well. Pushing right through the smoke. Cryo not able to get any more additional damage. But Bang has earned himself a Spectre. There's one angle found, but dropped down to 30 health. He had the right idea of it. Lined up the shot for the re-swing. Couldn't quite hit it, though.
If you say one of my
MiBR went full investment in that round, perhaps anticipating the 100 Thieves may force because they had such a deficit. RGL's up to an early orbital strike. We saw that in the first half, him having huge impact from that. Oh. So MiBR now with another decent opportunity to convert a bonus.
Yeah.
If they can cook something up.
On the cusp of it, 100 Thieves.
This could
rally
well
behind
be.
the support.
This could well be 100 Thieves season on the line. This map. You're going into Pearl next.
And it hasn't looked
rough.
Good. Yeah, it has not looked good. When they played it, they really were banking here on Fracture. Nice early map win to get themselves comfortable. Cryo over the top. He's going to be met face to face. Run and gun, run and fun. That's what Jason Day says. But Bang, he's there. Safe hands with 2 kills. A lot of damage done, though. It's multiple players of 100 Thieves. Derek and Bang backing away and actually getting that heal online with the smokes to obfuscate and hide their presence. And they've got good post-plant positions. 100 Thieves set up for a good win here, but it's going to be that re-clearance now towards Halls. Stella playing so passive, really far back, doesn't want to give his life. Asuna taking that first, no contact actually. Following up with the rest of his team, Stella. Great timing. As soon as that fight was there, passive with it, opens the door, confidence is there, okay. Not losing the bonus, an important step forward. If you're really going to be telling any story of 100 Thieves coming back here.
And 100 Thieves with their season on the line potentially on this first map, staring down their 5-round deficit. These are the kind of comebacks that make you feel like you absolutely deserved your spot in playoffs. I'm sure it's against MiBR, who've been struggling recently, but the form they're playing today is
I'm not
really quite good.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. When you play against teams that are playing spoiler with nothing to lose, I cannot count the amount of times where I've seen teams just play up to their potential in these final moments. Your last dying breath into the season, a chance of redemption. It always brings out the best in teams. And we're seeing it right here from MiBR.
That flash not quite bursting at the end from Asuna, so they don't have good information about whether somebody's around the corner, but grouping up with 4. And Chosen finds the first one, and now everybody else heading into the Killjoy utility. Cryo has been separated entirely.
And an orbital strike, why not? Driving that wedge ever so deeper. Cryo with the Seeker latching onto him. They knew exactly where it was and pushing right through the smokes. They want to take the fight. Derek is the only one left standing. He has a spike in his hands. He has a minute on the clock, but it's not going to be handed any easy kills. Surely MiBR showcasing. They've got the discipline. Yeah, they call it down. Oh my! A nice try. A very, very nice try.
Incredible
The
shooting.
adjustments there with the spray. I mean,
extraordinary spray control from Derek. But in a 1v4, too much to ask from him.
Too much.
And a timeout taken here for 100 Thieves. I'll tell you who's also been putting in a sneaky good game. This guy, Chosen. His Killjoy setup there, perfect for how MiBR wanted to separate Cryo from the rest of the team. And not just that, he's winning a straight aim duel against Stellar on the other side of things. If Chosen goes down there, the round may have fallen to pieces because Cryo would get reinforcements in on site. You see Bazooka's reaction to the Derek spray control towards the end. All good. All good. And it is all smiles for MiBR. Why wouldn't it be? You know that your season's been a bit of a disaster at this point. It started out fairly well. We had some decent high hopes for MiBR, especially after they took down NRG. But this team went into a bit of free fall. Reported disagreements internally in terms of the direction of the team heading forwards. And now, you know, Bazooka's got a squad here that maybe he's going to have a bit more of a buy into his system moving forwards into the future. It's not like the roles are too crazy. Chosen picking up something new, but JCC's been a duelist for a while.
Yeah.
And I think it can just give that like fresh feeling to the team, knowing that everything's over, we start again.
Other end of this timeout. MiBR one step away from getting on that map point. They're playing aggressively towards Arcade. In the meantime, we are watching 100 Thieves as the Rolling Thunder cleaves its way through most of the A side. There's only one player sitting there, waiting there. This is a fake attempt. It's meant to draw rotations, but MiBR not taking the bait. In fact, they want to take the fight straight to main. For some reason, they've got the read.
Well, I think they were actually looking to go for a free A Halls reflank. They thought that this was a commitment into A, and they were looking to go all the way around instead of the retake. So now, both teams are in a bizarre situation. 100 Thieves return to Cryo as the lurk.
Oh, it's got the knives. Still maintaining control of Sands. MiBR, what can they do to try and retake this one?
They have really bad retake positions right now, and this is into Bang, who has his ult online.
Yeah, all from CT.
If Stella spots anybody here, they could ult off this. They're not going to, just call for reinforcements through the door.
It's done. Trying to collide and collapse into it, but into the rifles, nevertheless. That's what we were mentioning. Post-plant positioning wasn't quite set up. You're all coming from the spawn area. You just get funneled into the crossfire setup. 100 Thieves are granted a great chance here. Of course they're going to strike. Of course they're going to land on it. So still alive in the map.
100 Thieves have actually looked really solid once they get the spike down on A. These structured post plants have been good, and MiBR are always coming from spawn. The issue, actually, for 100 Thieves has just been getting the spike down in the first place. We've been seeing MiBR play the defenses where they flood people into the site, or they halt them before they're, you know, anywhere near. But if Stella can cook up a couple more fake ideas like that get them a free spike plant on A, I think this comeback might be doable. Last time we saw MiBR, though, on an eco, JZZ ripped. It was a ridiculous round from him.
He took over.
And this is not a team that's known for their eco success. They're normally really bad at them.
Good players stacked over into where they're landing. Bit of information gathered from the Trailblazer. Cryo, though, wants to be dashing into the side. Cuts it across. Aftershock. They're in the corner. Is there an attempt here? MiBR really surrounding them. In fact, they're holding the util in their hands, waiting for the tap of the spike. And there we go. Flash around the side. It's a glide into them. Oh, what a strike, though. It was used in response to stave off the aggression for but a moment. But there are still 3 players alive, and this is starting to get spotty. Starting to get dangerous quite some time ago. Gradually, bit by bit, it's 100 Thieves losing their players and the advantage that they had. 2 of them left standing here to make the most of it, close to the corner. Weak. Not spammable on the angle, staying safe. So it will be that free plant.
You should run.
Without a lockdown, okay. MiBR forced now to take the fight straight to them. They got to know this one, jumping into them. They don't have the guns for it, rifle. Flashed up, RGL Meister. Time is of the essence. He has to bring the lockdown. But surely there should be enough time on the other end of it. This should be a thrifty win for MiBR.
I think it is, yeah. They've got tons of time just coming out of the defuse here to stick and go up to map point. An absurd play again from RGL. Clutch. Who goes for that? Red Bull clutch for the Brazilian squad. Brendan, this team has been the worst in Americas for eco rounds, all split, and they have pulled out 2 of the most bonkers eco rounds that we've seen all year.
Yeah, what a time to do it.
And that's not for lack of practice. MiBR have been practicing their eco rounds this year too.
Had lots of chances.
They have had so many chances, but something about today has just fired this team up. 100 Thieves are staring as their playoff chances are down the drain.
That reminder again, it's a must-win match for 100 Thieves to make that playoffs. If they lose it, EG sail their way in into that top 6 spot.
Turrets destroyed.
For their map pick now, 12 to 6. Similar scenes to what we saw the other day, Josh.
Absolutely, and Cloud9 were able to bring that one back against Crew. Somehow, I think that was a once-in-a-lifetime.
Oh, wow.
RGL has just looked so sharp. They have so many ults.
This is it.
There's the Rolling Thunder, Orbital Strike as well to try to deny.
And 100 Thieves have been slowed down to a crawl. A minute left. Player disadvantage. Moving forwards. It's an overdrive. It's a stun. It's all being offloaded into tower. It's Force Cry all the way back. And 100 Thieves, they could slow this down and take it in a different direction. I'm in the orb. At this point, the longer you take to make this decision of whether or not you want to go towards A or B, it's a cut noise. You're going to be landing on B. MiBR still sitting here. Stun as well. All the utilities being laid awkwardly. Orbital Strike! No way! Collapsed into him! 2 left standing. It would have to be a miracle.
Left.
Down to the final few seconds. Here is the tower. Fight needs to be won by Aston. He doesn't do it. No detainment. Swinging wide. 13 to 6. Map 1. What up by MiBR? And what a step up in form. What a time to do it.
Incredible individual performances there from JCC and RGL. RGL, to me, the MVP of that map. He went crazy. And that was 100 Thieves' map pick. Of the maps that you see in the pool right now, that's the one that you point to and you say, okay, 100 Thieves, we've seen them get wins there. They look good. They should be starting strong. But this slow beginning has just plagued 100 Thieves the entire time. 100 Thieves have only won 1 first map this entire split. All throughout Americas, 100 Thieves have only won 1 map 1 in the entire split. Of those, some of them, they've come back and they've made, you know, the last 2 theirs. But they're heading into Pearl. They haven't won this at all.
Yeah, I mean, this is a true test, isn't it? Real taste of whether or not you deserve to play in that top 6, a chance to extend and get into that playoffs. That is the question, but we're going to be finding out. Stepping away, up next, Dash, and the analyst desk going to be breaking it all down for map number 1 and setting up the rest of the series. Don't go anywhere.
He is currently unstoppable. True. He is just a consistent demon, El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's Ye. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing, how slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Don't stop me, 'cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a racing car, passing by like Lady Godiva. I'm gonna go, there's no stopping me. Don't stop me now, I'm having such a good time. I'm having a
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.